my roommate is home, this is gonna be torture because now I know I'm being perceived. Hi, I'm Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I figured we would lean into that new year, new start kind of attitude and talk about my 2021 writing goals. I don't know about you, but every time the new year rolls around, I convince myself that I'm going to be a completely different person who self-motivates and who stays on top of deadlines and who just exercises and eats clean with absolutely no effort from anyone. So this year I figured I would try to avoid that and keep my writing goals at the very least small and manageable and hopefully achievable. So my first goal is to actually finish the projects that I am working on. I intended to finish my dumb shapeshifter book by the end of 2020 and clearly that did not happen. It was supposed to be my national novel writing project and I failed terribly at that. So we're just gonna pretend it didn't happen and write it off as a COVID failure and take no personal responsibility for it. The first goal, or first two goals kind of, is to finish those two projects that I'm working on. For Kira and Alex, I have about 60,000 words and I have 30,000 new words to write for the end of Act 2 and into Act 3. And I probably have like 15,000 words of big structural changes to go back and do because partway through Act 2, I decided that my pacing was insane. As we've talked about, my pacing is not my strong suit. So I'm gonna have to go back and do some shit kicking of scenes to make some pretty big structural changes that'll probably take up another 14,000 words. It might not be adding 14,000 words, but I will probably have to do that much just in like fixing shit. I also have not written any of the chapters in which Kira is in her like mountain lion shape because that seemed terrifying and I didn't want to do it. So I've just skipped those and future Kayla is gonna have to deal with that. Not great. I think I'm also overwriting this book, but that's a future Kayla problem and I would rather overwrite it than underwrite it and have to go back and bulk it up. It's a lot easier for me personally to take shit out. I can comfortably write about 800 words in a sort of meh writing day. If I can carve out like an hour and a half and actually focus, I can probably get about 800 words done. So if I have about 45,000 words left to do, that is a pretty conservative 56 writing days just on this draft. So I went and made coffee because I love coffee and I needed more, and also my roommate got home and then my tripod fell over. So if my whole setup is different, sorry. So my second project is in adult contemporary, which I realize I literally just said that I don't like writing very much, but it was late at night on Discord with some friends talking shit and we kind of accidentally fell into this anthology idea where the central conceit is that all of the novellas have some part of their love story at this one wedding. So most of the love interests are groomsmen, and for my characters, they meet at the wedding and then continue their love story back in the real world. But I'm hoping that because it's just a novella, it's only 30,000 words, my complete inability to write a story without a monster in it doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. I think in 30,000 words, I can probably write tight enough to just focus on their romance and not worry about like a vampire war or shapeshifters. So fingers crossed. So I have about 5,000 words written for it and I will probably end up overwriting it to about 35,000 and then just cut it back. But that means I have about 30,000 words left to write on this particular project. And I have no idea what kind of structural changes I'll need to make. So I do want to sort of overestimate the time that it's going to take me to do that because I'm so early into its writing that I haven't run into those problems yet. So with about 56 days of writing for Kira and Alex and about 37 days of writing for Hannah and Lee, I have a very conservative estimate of about 93 writing days, which is me being ultra conservative, but there are big structural changes for Kira and Alex and there are unknown problems with Hannah and Lee that have not made themselves apparent yet, and I do want to be cautious, so I give myself more time rather than running out, which is kind of important because of my third-ish goal, second-ish goal, which is that I want to have something ready for Pitch Wars. I have friends who've done Pitch Wars, I have friends who have mentored for Pitch Wars, and I have always wanted to submit something and to be in Pitch Wars, but I've just never had something ready to go or thought that like this was my year, and 2021 is gonna change that. 2021 is the year that I at the very least submit. If I don't get picked, fine, I will cry into my pillow and drink a lot of gin, but I'll get over it. I still want to have something ready with like a query and a summary and like the whole manuscript all ready to go. But I don't know which project I want to be ready to query. That kind of depends on how they both go and like what ends up happening with the anthology, because right now Hannah and Lee are intended to be in an anthology, but there's other people involved in anthologies and you can't always anticipate how that's gonna go. So I want to keep my options open, and that means that in 7 months I have to get 93 writing days done, which is only about 13 days per month, which is actually very reasonable to achieve this. I want to lean into this idea that I stole from Matt D'Avella, who's like a productivity minimalism guy, and I will link down below because I find his videos beautiful and soothing. But he has this idea of like the 2-day rule, where you don't let yourself skip your habit for more than 1 day in a row, which means that at least every other day I will be writing. And that means that I should theoretically get more than my 13 days in 7 months and be good to go and have like buffer room and everything, because I need to, you know, write a summary and probably do some edits because writing is hard. Those are my 3-ish goals. I want to finish both my projects and I want to have something ready for Pitch Wars. I like that I have a nice end date for it. I have those Pitch Wars submission deadlines. So I'm hoping that with the 2-day rule, those are manageable enough for me. I know that a lot of people write much more prolifically than I do, much more consistently and with greater output. But for me, I'm gonna try to set like nice, small, reachable goals, especially given that we don't know how the quarantines are gonna go in 2021 and my pandemic brain is tired all the time. So what are your goals for 2021? Do you have writing goals? Do you have life goals? Whatever, let me know down in the comments. You can also, you know, complain, suggest things, do whatever. That's your space. Until next time, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do that good engagement stuff. If you want to find me anywhere else, I am Kayla Amanda. That is Kaylughmanda, and I will see you around.